Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to the channel. I'm driving around in the Porsche. It's a beautiful day. I took the top down, or brought the top down, and yeah, it's so nice. I'm still wearing a jacket because it's not completely warm. It's under 70 degrees Fahrenheit right now. I'm trying out this new setup I have right here for vlogging in a vehicle. It's a suction cup that I bought off of Best Buy, and use the curbside to pick it up. So I don't obviously they don't let us into the stores at this time. So yeah, I picked this up, and it's called the Joby. Saw a lot of good reviews on it. The suction seems to be pretty tight. Oh, when I was doing the car wash video, actually, so I used the inside the Abarth and the Porsche, but this is the first time I actually use it for vlogging and driving around. So I also, along with the suction, have the little Artman case, which is a modified case where you could put the microphone adapter for the GoPro. So I have that going, and I also have the Purple Panda microphone with the dead cat. Almost said dead mouse again. So yeah, just kind of trying out this setup for the car vlog. One thing I noticed right off the bat, the camera, the Joby suction is a little bit shaky. It's doing a lot of this constantly. So I'm hoping that with GoPro's stability, it should be okay. The footage should come out not as shaky as what I think it's coming out. We'll see how that comes out, but so far, that just from visually me seeing the camera right now, that seems to be the only, or seems to be an issue, or might be an issue. It might also be an issue of the sort of the coil, or whatever you call it, being stuck out so far. But with the other suction, the suction that you get, well, you don't get, but the suction that GoPro offers, it's stiffer, which I guess the con of that is that you don't get to move it around in different ways like you would with this Joby one. But now I'm already seeing a con, or it may not be a con, depending on the stability of the GoPro. But with this Joby, a little bit of shakiness. So there you go. I'm already doing a review of it, and I've barely started talking. Update. Other than this, I also wanted to give an update. If you watched my video, my last video, it's when I talked about the cost of having 6 different vehicles, and one of the vehicles, the Lexus RX 330, which is my wife's SUV. That one, I spoke about it probably having a wheel bearing issue, and it turns out wife's uncle, who is a mechanic, luckily he was nearby, and he gave it a check. He heard it, and he's like, no, this actually might be an alternator problem mixed with a timing belt issue as well. He was okay with taking it to his shop last night. Unfortunately, on his way to his shop late last night to drop it off for today in the morning, it died on the middle of the freeway. He gave us a call because we have AAA. Problem with AAA though was that you need to be there with the vehicle if you're the member. Even if it's your car, even if it's your family, you got to be there. They wouldn't even already send out the tow truck ahead of time. They wouldn't say like, okay, you know what, just meet us there, which is already an inconvenience. But an even more inconvenience is like, no, you have to be there. Or if you were a little bit closer, I think at that point we were already willing to meet halfway by meeting there. I was hoping they could meet us halfway by at least sending the truck out at the same time we were headed out there. Her aunt was there in a separate car, so they were able to just kind of get off the freeway and leave the car there while Trent and I went to go meet the AAA out at the freeway, on the shoulder of the freeway last night. It took a while for a couple reasons. One, his shop is really far, so they needed to find a tow truck that's willing to drive that far out to his shop to drop it off, so that he could start looking at it, which is today, depending on when you're watching this video or when I post this video. Yeah, so that caused a delay or for the tow truck to come out, having to find someone. And then another delay, something you gotta kind of look out for or watch out for is that there's a huge questionnaire, or a long, lengthy, there's a lengthy questionnaire when you call AAA right now because of what's going on. So they ask you a lot of questions before they get into the meat, the potato, which is basically like, you know, where are you stuck? Are you been in an accident? Things like that. Those are all the regular questions they ask. But right now, they're also asking a ton of questions of if you've been exposed, have you been around people that have been exposed, and things of that nature, which is all, you know, it's fair, and it makes a lot of sense that they look out not only for you, but they also look out for their tow truck drivers as well. So it made a lot of sense, but just kind of like a heads up, it's a lengthier process to even begin to start speaking to someone, an actual person, after going through the automated part, and then finally having someone en route to go get you. All in all, it took about an hour. The one thing though they told us was, like, you know, if you like, you could get off, or what they prefer was for us to get off the freeway, since we were in a second vehicle. They would call us when they're a little bit closer, so at least that way we weren't just hanging on the side of the freeway waiting for them, which is pretty dangerous. So that's what we did. We got off the freeway for close to 45 minutes, and then once they got closer, they gave us a call. We met them up back at her SUV, and they took the car, and it should be out at her uncle's shop, or it should have been up there last night, or really, really early this morning, so that he can start checking out. So yeah, that's funny. You know, I was just talking yesterday, or on my last video, I was just saying how, you know, the maintenance for that car, we don't know when we're going to work on it. It's no rush and all these things. And then here you are, that same evening, the car is headed out, and then it dies. And yeah, just thank God nothing happened to anyone, and it could have been a lot worse. You know, it's funny, I didn't actually plan on getting AAA until we went to Japan, and we were getting our international license at AAA. I wasn't a AAA member at the time, and one, they convinced me to get membership, and then because I have a motorcycle, you actually have to get the Premier or Premium or whatever it is, basically their most expensive service, which also includes the highest range as far as miles. The radius is a lot larger on that one as well. It has nothing to do with you putting the motorcycle on there, or getting the one that includes the motorcycle service. It has to do more with just the premium, and that's one of the things that premium includes, is a higher radius, or a larger radius of towing, and also the motorcycle service, which the other ones don't provide. If it weren't for that trip, I wouldn't have even gotten AAA. And then also, when I went to go pay my registration one time at AAA, which is something you could do, they also convinced me to add my wife to the AAA, which is a lot cheaper than the total amount of the initial service. So it's super cheap to add a second person on there, which is great too, because then she was able to talk on the phone with AAA at one point, and so was I, and there was no, you know, hassle of like, you know, who am I speaking to, and who's this, you're not a member, blah blah blah. We're both members, so that's all good too. So, but given that earlier this year I already used the towing for the Porsche like 3 times, and now with this Lexus, I think I'm pretty much capped out when it comes to towing. Now, I don't know what my options are if I were to need a tow again for the remainder of the year. I don't know if that just means, oh well, I have to pay full on out of pocket, or if it means I have to pay half or whatnot. So that's something I have to look into now that I think I've pretty much extinguished all of the tows for the remainder of the year with AAA. I have yet to see, because that was just last night, so I have to check that out. So yeah, pretty much today just kind of overall just testing out this setup, updating you guys on what happened with the Lexus RX, the SUV last night. just enjoying this weather, you know? It's a Sunday here in the Bay Area in California. And I haven't driven with the top down in a long time. It's been very cold for a very long. I'm gonna heat up the grill and make some carne asada. Probably binge watch some TV shows. And oh, also I needed to drive the Porsche because last night I think a dome light was left on, not by this guy. It was probably on for a couple hours, so I just wanted to. I know the dome light probably won't make a huge difference. It's not like leaving your hazards on or something like that, or definitely not like leaving your headlights on. But I still wanted to get the car going and get it driving. Stay tuned. Please like, comment, please subscribe. I'll talk to you all later.